Hey guys, welcome back to another video. So this video we're going to be talking again about why you should be buying vintage lenses. So in particular, not talking specifically about the lenses that I have owned. I'm just talking about more in general about vintage lenses and that you should be buying them if you plan on investing from or you plan on upgrading from your kit lens. So I upgraded from my kit lens to a 28mm f2.8. The reason why I went with this lens, I actually inherited this lens, so I was thinking about like, oh, I don't think I can use a 28mm. It's such an awkward focal length. But the thing is that because I'm placing it on an APS-C camera, it's like now acting like a 45mm lens. So I have to sit pretty far away from the mic, but I have like a shotgun mic, and then that is really helping on picking up the audio coming this way. So sorry, explaining like my current setup, but the reason why you should be picking up like a vintage lens for like an upgrade is because they are cheaper overall. So I believe you can find some pretty good deals on these old vintage lenses, and you can adapt them onto your modern DSLR. I'll show a link of the one that I bought for my Canon 80D, which I sold, and now I'm using a Canon T5i. And there is some more things that are coming on my channel, so I plan on upgrading to a full frame, but which full frame am I going to upgrade to? I don't know. Stay tuned, so definitely subscribe so you can see what's up. So yeah, so we're shooting on a T5i, and this looks pretty good considering, you know, we're going back to when this camera came out, like, I don't know, 2015, I think that's when it came out, or 2014. I don't know. I'll put a fact check here because I have no idea when the T5i came out. But it is a great camera, good for shooting video. I'm shooting at 1080p, 24 frames per second. Everything looks pretty good, pretty exposed. So yeah. But yeah, back to the topic, vintage lenses. They are cheap, so you're gonna save a lot of money, and then you can use that money that you save to either, I don't know, get some gear, but either way you can get what you want at a cheaper price. So some really good benefits is that you can shoot in more low light conditions. If I were to use my 18 to 55mm kit lens, which is at 3.5, then this is how it would look. So let me change it. So everything's manual, so the aperture is manual, so I gotta manually change it, so just one moment. So this is at 3.5 f-stop. So, and then if I change it back, it's gonna makes it brighter, so you can see that it allows like more light when you have like a lower f-stop. So that's what's really nice, is that you can find a lot of cheaper older lenses that have like really low f-stops. So this is like an f2.8. I think it's a good number. It keeps like the background a little bit more blurry. Another lens that I plan on picking up is possibly the Nifty 50, because it's a very cheap lens, at the same time has an f-stop of 1.8. Well, that means it's going to be able to take in even more light. So let me go bring it back. Cheaper, good in low light. Number three, what's number three? It's the build quality. So the build quality, these lenses are all like made out of manual, so they're very durable. So these are very durable lenses. If you were to drop them, there's a higher chance that these are going to survive compared to if you were to drop your kit lens. If you drop your kit lens, that's made out of like pretty much all plastic. So if you were to drop a vintage lens, there's a better chance of it surviving. There's so much more metal that I see, like I barely see any plastic. I actually don't see any plastic on this lens. Everything is metal. That's metal. The only thing that's not metal is this focus ring. This focus ring is like made out of rubber. So yeah, so with the older lenses, they're definitely built like a tank. So that's definitely a plus. The only downside about everything that I just mentioned is that everything's manual. So right now I have to manually adjust the focus, have to manually adjust that aperture, and that kind of sucks. So let's say you're doing like some photography, it's really hard to tell like what the lighting's gonna look like because you don't know. So it's really difficult for photography because your camera's not going to tell you that you're perfectly exposed or not. So you can't use a histogram, none of that you can't use. So you have to kind of shoot, like this is how I've had to do it. I'd have to shoot in video mode, because in video mode you can see if you're perfectly exposed or not. So that's like literally the only way you can tell is shooting in video mode first, then switch to photo mode, then take your photo. It's really a pain, but that's like literally the only workaround that that I know of. So in terms of like video, it's really great for video. But if you're thinking about like, oh, I want to step up my like photography game, it is going to be a challenge, but it's something you can do. So I'm going to definitely show some photos here of like, me taking photos with this camera, or not this camera, but with this lens or with that lens, and I've gotten some really good results. So definitely do recommend picking up some vintage lenses. It's definitely a lot of fun because it's like a challenge. So it's like compared to relying on all the autofocus that our like cameras have, you're now like kind of like relying on like more of your like skills and stuff like that. So I don't know. Some people could find this all as a negative, but I saw everything as like a positive. I saw it as opposite. I saw everything as positive. So definitely do recommend. So I'll share some links down below to some vintage lenses that I think are going to be some good to pick up. Some brands that I've been looking at. I think there's like a Helios one. I saw that one. There's a lot of videos on that one. That's definitely, it's like a really cheap, I think it's a Russian brand vintage lens, and there's like definitely a lot of Canon FD lenses that you can pick up if you're trying to go with Canon. There's definitely a lot of Nikon. I have a couple Nikons. So this one's a 100 millimeter lens. The one I'm shooting on is a 28. And then I have like a, what is it? I have a Vivitar macro extender. And then I also have a Tamron. I think I have a Tamron as well. It's like a Tamron like 75 to 300 millimeter. I don't see any use for it at the moment, but I'm hanging on to it. So, because you never know. Never know. You just never know. So, that conducts this video on why you should buy vintage lenses. So, if you enjoyed this video, leave a like, comment down below. What do you guys think? Do you guys think, in 2020, 2021 that we should still be using vintage lenses? I definitely think so. I think when I pick up a full frame, I'm still going to slap on a vintage lens on it just for fun. It's definitely a lot of fun. It's a challenge, but I recommend it if you haven't already. So, stay tuned, subscribe. See you guys next time. Peace.